I bet you your sausage tastes good too. We'll have to see.
It's longer than I thought it was.
Salutations and welcome to the farm. It's been a while since we've had you here in the kitchen on the farm, but we have a special recipe to share with you today. You know, 2 days ago it was 80 degrees outside. The tulips are starting to come up from the dark soil and the trees are starting to get buds on them, and it's like spring is finally here. What happened today?
It decided to drop 50 degrees and snowflakes.
It dropped 50 degrees. That means it was down to 30 degrees today and it snowed. So the fireplace is back on, the booties are back out, the blankets are out so we can stay nice and warm. And I told Papa Jim,
The booties out?
Not that booty, stop. The booty's on your feet. I'll take you anywhere. So we decided that we need something nice and warm and hearty and a good comfort food for dinner tonight. So I'm going to be making a new recipe that I saw online, and it sounds like a lot of fun, and it's called husband soup.
It's called what?
Husband soup.
Later, guys.
Hi, sweetie. Stick around. I'm going to need you in a moment. So let's go over our ingredient list for our husband soup. For your ingredients, everything that you're going to need, I'm going to try to put up over here on the blackboard for you, and the recipe will be in the description box below. Now, I do want to give proper credit. This is a recipe from 365 Days of Crockpot.com. It's also found on some Instant Pot sites where they're promoting this recipe as well. You're going to need 1 pound of ground spicy Italian sausage. Honey, do you know where that sausage went? I don't think I bought the sausage. You have a sausage you're saving for something, don't you? I need your sausage, oh husband dear. Don't worry, don't panic. It's okay. I know you need... Can I have your sausage?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
But you got me worried now.
Don't be worried. Hey, that's a nice sausage.
You like that?
I like that. That's a really nice sausage. You've been hanging on to that for a while, haven't you? We're going to put this here on the cutting board.
Just let everybody.
You don't let anybody have your sausage? I don't think this knife's going to cut it. It's kind of hard to hang on to this sausage. Where's Lorena? Where's Lorena? Lorena. There she is. Oh, thank you. Yes, Lorena. Lorena will do the job. Oh, Lorena, you do such fine work. There we go. Do you think we had about a pound here? Is this about a pound?
Oh, it's at least.
At least a pound.
Hey, so I have a question.
What's your question?
When you say husband soup,
Yes.
is this? I mean, can you get more clarifying of husband?
Oh, I'll discuss that as we go.
Oh.
And you know, we're going to have the comments open so that you can ask questions while we're cooking this. I know we're going to have a lot of questions just like that.
The sausage smells good.
Is that a good smelling sausage?
is.
I bet you your sausage tastes good too.
We'll have to see.
We'll have to see.
Yeah. It's longer than I thought it was.
Let's go ahead and get our Instant Pot ready because we're going to brown our sausage and our onion, and we'll go through the ingredients as we put this together. Set your Instant Pot to saute. Now, in all truthfulness, I'm using some vegetarian, plant-based Italian sausage. So if you're using real Italian sausage, you're going to have a certain amount of fat content. You don't need to add any extra fat. I'm just going to add a little drizzle of oil into my Instant Pot. And then I'm going to add my sausage. And in all fairness, I do have 3 more links of the sausage that I cut up ahead of time. So it's gonna go into the pot as well. So we do have about a pound of Italian sausage. There we go. While that's warming up, you wanna get an onion that's gonna give you about 1 cup of diced onions and 3 large carrots. Peel your carrots, get your onions all ready, and remember to save the leave-ins from your vegetables so that you can put them in the freezer and make some veggie broth later, because we're going to be using some of our homemade veggie broth in this recipe. So make sure that you have that. Go back and check my video on how to make your own veggie broth with the scraps from your veggies. This is starting to sizzle. I have 1 cup of onions that I already cut up. They're ready to go. We're going to dump these in here with our sausage, and we're going to give this a stir. Now, again, if you use bulk sausage, you're going to want to use your spoon to break that up a little bit as it's browning. You just want to continue on the saute setting until your sausage is brown and your onions are translucent. While we're waiting for the sausage to brown and the onions to become translucent, let's take a question from our viewers. Susie from Savannah writes, "Dear Country Mama, when making husband's soup in my Instant Pot, do I need to use free range or organic husband?" Susie, that's a great question. Let me answer that for you. Never, ever let your husband free range. Always keep them on a short leash. No free ranging husbands allowed. I hope that answered your question, Susie. Let's get back to our sausage. That smells really good. It's really aromatic. It's a good smelling sausage, honey.
Thank you.
Now we're going to add a tablespoon of garlic. Now you don't want to burn your garlic because then your food's going to be bitter. So you only want to include this for about 30 seconds, stirring it around with your sausage. Now while we're counting down that 30 seconds, I'm going to grab a jar of my homemade veggie broth. I'm going to give it a good shake. We're going to pop the top and we're going to pour this into our husband soup. Take your spoon, scrape the bottom of your Instant Pot, get all those leave-ins off the bottom. Now this is 4 cups. We want 7 cups in our soup. So I'm going to get 3 more cups and I'm going to add just a little something to it. So here we're adding 3 more cups of water. And I'm going to add 1 healthy spoonful of Better Than Bouillon. It's a vegetable-based bouillon. Very tasty, very good. It's nice if you don't have any beef bouillon or anything at home. So like I said, a really nice healthy spoon is going to give a nice deep flavor to our husband's soup. Has spiced things up. Nothing worse than a bland husband soup. This is still on saute. It's still warm. We're just going to mix everything up. Let's see what's next on our ingredient list.
I thought you said I was a spicy.
You are muy caliente, baby. Muy caliente. Next, we're going to add 3 carrots. We've peeled the carrots. I've already cut the carrots up. I kept the outer skins of the carrots, the peels. I'm going to put them in my broth recipe. For now, 1 cup of carrots. It's about 3 large carrots. They're going into our soup as well. We're also going to add a bay leaf. I get these out at the Amish market. Oh, they smell really good. Moving on, you want some Italian seasoning. This is something else that I pick up out at the Amish market. Are you Italian, honey?
Am I Italian?
Today you are.
Yeah,
In it goes. Next we're going to add half a teaspoon of kosher salt. I like to use just Redmond's pink Himalayan sea salt. We'll throw that in there. And then 3/4 teaspoon of black pepper. So there's half. and a quarter. Just put these aside. Give this a stir. Oh, that smells good. To our Instant Pot, we're going to add some diced tomatoes. Now, if you're going to get this in a can, you can get 15 ounce can of diced tomatoes, and also a jar of tomato sauce. Again, 15 ounces. If you're not taking it directly out of the pantry, this is a good way to use up some of the canned goods that maybe are a little past their expiration date. Throw them in your husband's soup. Now we're going to add some rice to our husband's soup. Now you want uncooked white or brown rice. Now I've read up on this recipe a little bit. If you want to use orzo pasta, it is a really nice substitute, but your cooking time is going to be a little different. So if you decide to use orzo pasta, check in the notes below in the description box, and I'll put the cooking times down there for the orzo pasta. Can't say it. For the orzo pasta. We're going to be using some white rice that we've had in our pantry, that we've had stored up for a while, and we want 3/4 cup. So here is 1/4, 2/4, and 3/4. Now, if you're going to be using brown rice, your times are going to be different as well. When we get everything set up here on our Instant Pot for the cook time, for brown rice, it's going to be 22 minutes. But for our white rice, it's going to be 5. So let's give this a good stir. Make sure all of our ingredients are incorporated well. And let's get the lid on. So we're going to go ahead and place our lid on. We're going to seal it. We're going to make sure that our valve is closed so that we get a good cook on this. We're going to cancel the saute method now. We're not sauteing anymore. Now we're going to pressure cook, and we're going to pressure cook for 5 minutes. This will come up to heat. It shouldn't take too long because we already have everything warmed up because we've been sauteing. And once it comes up to heat, we're going to count down the 5 minutes. While we're waiting for this, it's already getting ready to go. While we're waiting for this, let's take another question from our viewers. Nancy from Dayton, Ohio asks, "Dear Country Mama, boy, I wish this would have been around when my ex-husband was still here." Nancy, I assure you, if you use an ex-husband for this recipe, it's going to be a bitter, bitter soup. Best to save it for another time. Let's move on. Now, while you're waiting for this to cook, this is the opportune time to take all of your little ramekins and all of your dishes, get them in the sink, get them ready for some cleanup. By the time I get that all done, our soup is going to be ready. Now, while this is coming up to temperature, I need to prepare the last remaining ingredients, and one of those is 2 cups of coarsely chopped spinach. So I've got some spinach here, and I need to chop it up. Make sure you rinse your spinach off really, really well. Rinse it, drain it. And I'm just going to turn my spinach here out onto my cutting board, and we're going to coarsely chop the spinach. Where did Lorena go? Lorena! Set you down here. We're going to add this back over here to our bowl. Made light work of that spinach. Now we also want to have a 1/2 cup of some really nice fresh Parmesan cheese. Okay, now our 5 minutes is starting. We're on the 5-minute countdown. We have our 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. We're going to be adding that as well. This is going to be a cream-based soup. So you want to have either some milk or some heavy cream, some half and half, or you can even use evaporated milk. Now, while this is cooking, let's discuss the evaporated milk versus half and half or cream or milk itself. If you're going to be adding cream, half and half milk, you're going to want to temper it before adding it to your soup. If you're using the evaporated milk, you don't need to do that. You can just pour it right in. How do you temper your dairy? What you want to get is a large 4-cup measuring cup, a glass one, and then take some of your soup base out, some of the liquid from your soup, and put it into that cup. Then add your dairy to it, mix it around a little bit, then pour it back into your soup. Otherwise your milk's going to curdle and you don't want that. So make sure you temper your dairy before you add it back into your soup. But you don't need to do that if you're using evaporated milk. Now, one thing about evaporated milk is I have tons of evaporated milk in my pantry, because when things get tough and we can't make it to the store, we don't have a cow, there are recipes that need milk. Always stock up on evaporated milk. If there's a run on your store and the shelves are clean and everybody's purchased all the milk, go check the baking aisle for evaporated milk. Always make sure you have at least 6 to 12 cans on hand at all times. Now, once this timer goes off, we're going to turn the Instant Pot off and we're going to let this sit for 5 minutes before we release the valve here on the top. So 5 minutes after it's done. Let's take a question. Oh, this is a good one. Debbie from Smyrna, Tennessee wants to know, when this is done cooking, what do I do about releasing the pressure valve? Do I do a quick release or a natural release? Oh, Debbie, it is so important when making husband soup that you always go for the natural release. Nobody making husband soup, not even the husband, appreciates it when you have a quick release. When it comes to husband soup, always a natural release. I hope that answers your question. Our timer has gone off. The cook time is done. We're going to go ahead and turn our Instant Pot off. And now we're going to set the timer for 5 minutes to let this just sit for that natural release. Now, during this time, this would be the time that you'd want to put some really delicious breadsticks or a loaf of Italian bread into the oven to warm, because you're going to want to have that to serve with your husband's soup. So our 5 minutes are up, and I know I said you want to have a natural release for your husband's soup, but sometimes you just kind of have to help speed things along. And that's true now. Our 5 minutes are up and it's time to do a quick release on this baby. And let's get our last few ingredients in. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to, ooh, it sputters. It's messy. It really did scare me. There we go. You're going to want to let this release entirely before you attempt to take the lid off. I grabbed the toast out of the little toaster oven that we have, and I do want to remind you, if you have time to prepare in advance, if you're going to be making husband soup, it would go really good with my artisan bread that I make in my solar oven. Make sure you check out my video where I make my bread in the solar oven. Ooh, it just dropped. The pin just dropped. And I can show you how to make it in a turkey roaster as well. And of course you can make it in a regular oven. I didn't have the opportunity to make that today because it's snowing and I have no sun. So we've just got some little cheese toast here that we picked up at the store. Our pin has dropped. It's safe now to open the lid. So we're going to carefully take this off and set it aside. So we're going to give this a nice stir before we add our evaporated milk. You want to look for that bay leaf. See if you can locate the bay leaf and remove it. There it is. And you can just set this aside. Now again, if you're adding regular milk, temper it. But for this recipe today with the evaporated milk, we're just going to pour it right in. 12-ounce can. Give this a stir. And once that's well incorporated, this is so beautiful, wait until you see it. We're going to add our spinach right in. It's okay if there's a little bit of moisture still from the spinach. We're just going to dump that right in. Save the bowl, because this is what I'm going to feed my husband with. No sense in doing a bunch of extra dishes. Stir this around. Give that spinach just a couple of minutes to break down in the heat. Don't serve this up right away. Give it a couple minutes. And then also we're going to add the Parmesan cheese. So this has been sitting for a couple of minutes now. We're going to stir this up and you're going to want to ladle it into a bowl. You can add more salt and pepper to taste, whatever your preference is. Wait until you see how beautiful this soup is. Nice, hearty, creamy. You've got your rice and the sausage, your vegetables, that cream base. I'm not going to add any extra salt. I'm going to let my husband decide if he wants any extra salt, but I will put just a little bit of pepper on the top. And I'm going to garnish it with just a little bit more parmesan just to make it pretty. Let me grab him a spoon and call him to dinner, and we'll see if he likes it. Jam!
What we got here?
We got your husband's soup. Aren't you guys glad to see that he's okay?
So can you
he's not really in the pot?
Can you make a announcement or make something that there was no husbands harmed in the making?
No husbands were harmed in the making of the husband soup. It's all in good fun. We had a lot of fun bringing Loretta out of storage.
Loretta. That's a whole nother.
We had a lot of fun bringing Lorena out so she could help with our meal today. But here you go. You can add extra salt if you like.
Right.
You're peppered up. You've got some extra cheese, and you've got. Is it still too hot?
I don't know if I got it. Let me try it here.
Now, while he's trying his soup, I do want to tell you we've got one more question. Charlotte from Phoenix, Arizona wants to know, Dear Country Mama, this is all good and fine having husband soup, but what do I do about my husband's side chick? Do you have any recipes to recommend for that?
I think you do.
Well, Charlotte, indeed I do. Come back for another episode here on Country Mama Musings right here in the kitchen, and we're going to do side chicken in a casserole.
Side chick in the casserole?
Side chicken.
Side chicken
in the
casserole. Whoa.
Mama, don't play.
Alright, let's see how good this is. Mmm.
That good?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a keeper?
I wonder if that side chick in the casserole is going to be good.
Oh, you better never know what a side chick in a casserole.
Good.
Good stuff?
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and dish up another bowl for me, and we're going to have our dinner, and it's snowing outside, and we're going to sit down. What are we going to do? We're going to watch an episode of The Waltons, I think.
The Waltons.
So thank you so much for joining us here on the farm. Until we see you again, what do we say? Take care of yourself.
Take care of each other.
And have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.